Hey sunshines, welcome to BunniPhish Crafts. This is the March video. We have a very warm spring day here in Michigan today, so I am walking in the woods and I'm gonna find a spot to sit and knit and read and chill before it's rainy and cold again. We just have one day. And I don't think any weather is bad weather. It's just you're prepared or not for it. But you know, this day feels particularly nice. I don't have to wear sleeves. So it's very lovely today and I'm very excited. And I just wanted to share it with you, even though the woods are all still dead. Well, not true. There are some places where the flowers are poking through, which is exciting. Good morning, Forest. Hey sunshines. So it's the 13th of March and I have this basket of, oh look at that, of knitted stuff that, like, sometimes, you know how knitting gets lost? It just gets lost for a little while. So, you know, I'll have a sock that doesn't have its match for a long time and I'll throw it in this basket. But I know some of these don't have matches. So I'm going to match my socks and put them away because they actually are supposed to live in a drawer. And then I am going to be destructive. I'm going to rip out. I know there's at least one like big thigh high in here that doesn't have a match. So I'm going to rip it out and put it in a blanket because I want to be destructive, but also use that destructiveness creatively. I know there's a sock in here that has not had a mate since for 8 years. Like, it must have gotten left behind in Kentucky. It hasn't had a mate that whole time. So that one's going to get ripped out too. And I'm not ripping them all out tonight, but I'm going to go through and see what has a match and what doesn't. All right. So I thought I had a thigh high in there that didn't have a match, but it turns out both of them were in that basket. Who knew? Not me. So this sock has not had a match in 8 years. I'm going to frog it. This mitt is the original crusting mitt made out of daisy knits, but look, it's stained. It's fine. I'm going to rip it out and put it in a blanket. And then this sock, I don't know. I don't know that I'm ready to rip this sock out. I might hold out hope that the other sock is somewhere. There are also 2 other socks that don't have mates that I'm holding out hope for, but it's kind of like a more of a matter of time before they get ripped out. Because I'm pretty sure they haven't had mates in over a year. But whatever. I'm going to rip these out, put them in a blanket. Not tonight, but maybe starting tonight. We'll see. Hello, sunshines. It is the 26th of March, Tuesday, and it is spring break. So you are joining me in my oldest kiddo's bedroom at their dad's house because we have come down to their dad's house for spring break. But my oldest kiddo is taking the dogs for a walk, and my littlest kiddo is having lunch, and their dad is at work. So I am here to tell you about some things that I've finished recently. I'm not going to give you my works in progress though, because it's only the 26th and it is spring break week, so I'm hoping to finish more. But I do have some things, so let's go ahead and talk about it. I have a really bad ear infection, so I can't hear out of my left ear at all, so I'm sorry if like my speech volume is weird or patterns are weird or whatever. I just can't hear right now. Also, this lighting is coming from the side through a window, so sorry about the shadows. All right, it's fine. I know you guys think it's fine. So first up, let's look at these tattoo socks that I started at the beginning of last month for the trade for my tattoo, which is so cute, by the way. So he touched up this one on the side of my foot, and then he did this one on the ankle, and it says "Love as thou wilt." It's a quote from Kushiel's Dart. So these are the socks. Oh, I have a end to weave in apparently. I don't know if you can tell, but these are size 12 men's socks. They're huge. They're way bigger than my palms. They're way bigger than my socks. And they are super long. If they were on me, they'd go to just under my knee. They are going to go about halfway up his calves. So super long. The yarn I used was Cascade Heritage. I think they're highlighter colors. I think that's what they're called, like highlighter yellow, highlighter green, but they're very long. I started at the toe because I started the socks before I had a chance to see him in person and measure his calf. So I started at the toe, did Scraposaurus pattern on the foot, knew I did not want to do that on the legs because of how stripes look in ribbing, and I knew I wanted to rib the legs for best fit. So I did that, and then I worked I finished one stripe and I worked the second stripe straight, and then I did increases on every last round of the subsequent stripes until I got up to this yellow round, and then no increase in this green stripe. But do you see that I went from a 3x2 rib to a 1x1 rib, and I did that by every other knit two together section. I would either knit front and back, knit one, or knit two together, so that it could be knit one, purl one, so that I could do a sewn bind off on the top and it would look really, really neat, which I think it does. I think that turned out really beautiful. So I'm really, really pleased with how these socks turned out. They're super, super fun. And then I wanted to work on DK weight socks for me. So I had started these, I think last month I had the first one started, and another end to weave in. Fail, I guess I'll be doing that today. I have worn these though, even with that end. Well, actually I wore them and then realized that I made one sock 2 rounds shorter than the other, and so it kept slipping into my shoe, so I pulled it out. That's why it has an end, because I re-knit the toe with 2 extra rounds beforehand. But anyway, I had started the first one, and I said on the second one I wanted it to be slightly off. You see that it's just slightly off. I think I did 5 straight rounds after the second heel instead of like 1 straight round. Why did I do that? I don't remember. I definitely could have gone longer on those straight rounds. I think I was like, you know what? I really just want to knit with a colorful yarn now. So I think that's what I did. And yeah, I've already worn them. They've got some dog fuzz on them. They fit really well. Well, the one that had the 2 extra rounds fit really well. So I'm really liking them. The yarn is Plymouth Yarns for this blue, this teal yarn, and then this stripe is Penguin Soup that I held together, so you can see a little bit on there. The colors marled a little bit where the colors were changing, and I did not do color management. So I did that sock, finished those, and then I had that teal, and I was like, well, I need my second pair, because you might remember my goal for this year is 3 pairs of DK weight shorties. So I used that same teal, and I used the highlighter colors. When I wound the green highlighter color, it was being funky. It was being funky on the Swift, so I cut it after winding maybe like 40 grams I was like, nope, you're just irritating me. I'm gonna cut it. It doesn't matter. I know I'm gonna be cutting the yarn anyway, not a big deal. So it was in 2 balls. I misplaced one of the balls. So this is the first sock I made, and I wanted to ombre it in like correct color order. And then I was starting the second sock, or I was getting ready to start the second sock, and I was like, there's no way. I don't have enough of that green to repeat this sock. So I decided to use the green in the part where I would need the least amount of it, and that's good. I might have 10 yards left in that nugget, but probably not. No, I don't think I have 10 yards. I think maybe I have 10 feet of yarn in that little nugget left. So it was a good call. So they are color blocked with some ombre going on, and they are coordinating but not matching, but I think they're fun and I like how they turned out. So I'm feeling pretty good about them. My hair gets everywhere, sorry about that. So 2 pairs of DK weight socks. I did not bring more yarn to do DK weight socks with me on our little trip. So once we get home, I'll have a few days before we go back to school. I'm gonna see if I can squeak out 1 more pair by the end of March. If not, it's not a big deal, it's fine. Last month I was working on squares for a blanket that my sister and I are gonna make for our aunt. And this is my second square. We're each making 12 squares. Is that right? We're each making 10 squares. I don't remember. I'll have to talk to my sister. 10 or 12, Amanda, are you watching? But this is my second square. So I had like kind of a short, not short, like a skinny but long rectangle that I originally made for something else. One of my friends was doing an art installation and asked for crochet pieces of certain sizes. And so I made it, and it had all of these ends just hanging out on it, but I didn't finish it in time, so I didn't send that one. I sent a lot of other pieces, but not that one. So I just kind of made a solid granny square using those, using that yarn, and it's slightly different yarn weights throughout, so it's kind of doing a ruffly thing. I think once it's in a blanket, it'll be fine. Who's gonna notice? Nobody. It won't even matter. But that's my second square. And I'm trying, like I'm thinking what I want to do for my third square. I don't want to buy yarn for this blanket, but I have plenty of acrylic yarns just sitting around, so I'm debating what I want to do next. I kind of have an idea. Oh, excuse me. Kind of have an idea. My sister is using all the same yarn for her squares, so like hers are going to be very cohesive and mine are going to be not cohesive at all. But we think that our aunt is going to like that, so it'll be fine. And then I finished reading, finally, Priory of the Orange Tree. I say finally, but I mean, it is finally. It did take me longer than I wanted to, and it took a long time, but it's also really, really thick. It's 830 pages or something. 820 something pages. 830 if you read all of the stuff. Like there's a glossary at the back, and a list of characters, and the thank yous, and I always read all of that, so I do count all of those pages. I liked it. I thought it was really, really interesting, really good. I mean, the first 100 pages is world building, which when you're reading like epic fantasy, you just have to, in my personal feeling, you kind of just have to trudge through the first 100 pages to get the world built, and then the story really takes off. Not saying that it's boring for the first 100 pages, but there's a lot of, a lot of backstory and histories and stuff like that. So I enjoyed it. I did, though, feel that the ending felt a teeny bit rushed. Like, just a little bit. Like, I could have used an extra 10 pages at the climactic scene. So, yeah, I don't know. It's not bad. I would say that if you like epic fantasy, you like dragons, you like court intrigue, that sort of thing, there's a little bit of magic use, not a ton. If you like that sort of thing, it's worth reading. It's a time investment, though, so keep that in mind. All right, I'm sure I'm going to see you at least once more before the end of March, but I just wanted to show you what I've been working on. I'll talk to you later. Bye for now. Hey sunshines, it's Thursday. We just got home from our Kentucky trip and I thought I would show something kind of exciting to you. Look at this. So my goal this year was to put together 100 hex puffs, and I put what I thought was 100 in this bag. And so I took it with us on this trip, and this is, with that one, would be 90. So I guess when I counted the puffs and put them in the bag, I skipped a 10. I was probably distracted while I was doing it. Sounds like something I would do. So I still have a few days left in March, a few days left in this quarter. I'm going to see if I can get this, this goal taken care of. My kitten is very excited that we're home. He's very annoying and very loud. I apologize for that. Hello, Teenius. Yes, we were gone and you missed us. You did. I know. Yeah. It's okay. So anyway, I'm going to attach this and I'm going to pull out 10 more hexapuffs and see if I can get it done in the next few days. Wish me luck. You'll have to watch the quarter roundup to see if I did it or not, though. I'm not going to talk about it again here. You'll have to go over there to see, but how cool would that be if I got this done? Mostly worked on it while watching, pretty much all worked on it while watching Underworld movies in a marathon and then Lord of the Rings movies with a marathon with my kiddo. Because when your kid is like, hey, do you want to marathon these movies with me? You absolutely say yes. Oh, one more thing. I decided that this is going to be a corner. So I am making these like half hexies and sewing them on so that this is going to be one edge. I talked to my kiddo. My kiddo was like, that's cool. But I personally don't like the look of these big giant gaps. So it's not something I discussed with my kiddo. It's just something for my own brain to make this a little more level and straight. So I don't know how many hexapuffs I actually have made. I don't know how big this blanket is going to be. Like if I have a ridiculous too many amount, I'm not going to make this into like a 10 foot by 10 foot blanket. No way. But if I don't have enough, then I'll have to make more. But again, I have no idea. This is what 90 looks like. So who knows? Who knows how many I need for a blanket? I think roughly guesstimating I might need 12 of these to cover the queen size bed. So maybe. We'll see. Hey sunshines, it is Sunday the 31st of March 2024. So let's wrap up March. How are you doing? I'm a little rough. I can hear kind of now out of my left ear, like the ear infection is better than it was. But we're having weather flux in Michigan, which means I have a migraine right now. So, anyway, let's look at a couple things that I finished since I last saw you. I made some Regia socks. I made them matching. Aren't they beauteous? I made these for one of the parents at school who's like my friend. So I was working on socks and like walking through the office, and she saw the socks that I was wearing, and she was like, those are cute. And I was just walking and knitting at the same time, because as I do. And she was like, what are you working on? More socks? Yes, more socks. And she had been in a classroom that I had been in at one point earlier, like the week before, and had been looking at what I had been knitting, which was socks, because that's mostly what I knit at school. And she was like, so how do I get myself put on the list for some socks? And I was like, I probably love you enough. So I made her some Regia socks. The heels don't match, but it's fine. The heels don't match because I pulled from the outside of the ball for them, and I couldn't be bothered to make them match. It's going to be on the bottom of her foot. She's not even going to be able to see. And if she doesn't like them that bad, she can knit her own socks. So finished those. I also made my goal of knitting 3 pairs of DK weight socks this month. My goal wasn't to knit them this month. It was to knit 3 pairs of DK shorties this year, but I did it this month. There's a little end popping out. I'll trim that maybe, or not. It could just live there. So these are super scrappy. My other 2 pairs were not, I mean, they were both scrappy-ish, like scrappy adjacent. They were used with leftovers from other projects, I guess is a better way to say it. But these were like really, really scrappy. I used two of these brown colors in a square on my reading blanket. It was a square for, I think it's called Long Live the Pumpkin Queen. It was a Night Before Christmas book that I read last year. And I was like, oh my gosh, those are so beautiful together that I need them to be some socks. So I grabbed out a brown tweed yarn to hold with them, and then I did the cuffs with the same yarn. I switched to a different scrap for the heels, and then I didn't have enough of the first yarn to go all the way down the cuffs, so I put the first yarn in, and then I started the second yarn, and then I switched for the heels, because I think it's fun when the heel is different. Absolutely not necessary. Obviously, I've knit socks where you don't change the heel, you just keep going, but I thought that would be fun. Oh, I have fuzz on my nose, sorry. Could be a wool fuzz, could be a kitten fuzz, hard to tell. Anyway, and then I ran out of that yarn like right here, and I used several other minis. So they're like coordinating but not 100% matching. I think they're so cute anyway, and I am wearing them to work tomorrow. I've decided. I'm a little sad spring break is over. I'm not ready, but it's fine. I'll be fine. By the way, I'm in Michigan, if you don't know that, if you're new here, and we were supposed to have partial sun today, so I held off on recording until the afternoon, and then the weather changed to be just cloudy all day. We also went from having supposed to have like some sunny / cloudy days later this week to we're supposed to have 5 days straight of rain. So welcome to Michigan springtime. So those are the 2 things that I finished. I did work a bunch on a couple things. Let me show you this one first because this is super exciting. This is my reading blanket. So I am not going to assume you know what this is. I will tell you about it. I have a reading journal. It is right here. For reading journal. And I have been writing in it since some point in 2021, I think I decided. Yeah, September no, October 2021. Started writing in it. And I have these little tabs for when, those are like quarterly-ish. So I'm pretty excited. End of first quarter of 2024. And I am actually going to put this over here on my bed because I finished a book today, which I will talk about in a minute. So that's exciting. But okay, so the way this is working is I have been trying to, but my plan was to put every single book that's in that journal into a blanket, and like out of 5 stars basically. So these are 5 round blocks. Each round is how much I liked the book. So I only have one book that I DNF'd, and that is the only square so far that only has 1 round. And then if I didn't like a book, which is very rare, I very rarely like dislike a book, but then it would have 2 rounds. If I, liked a book okay, it's 3 rounds. If I liked a book enough that I would be like searching out other people who I think would like the book to recommend it, then that would be 4 rounds. And if I just think everybody should read it, whether or not they like that type of book, just because I just love it so much, that's 5 rounds. So here's a little, let's see, where are we? This is what it looks like so far. And in the last month, I finished, this is where I was, finished 1 full row, 2, 3 full rows. I think I'm going to count real quick so I'm not a liar because I don't remember how many squares across it is. It's 12 squares across. So that's a lot of squares to make. So let's see if I can get it in the frame. Okay. We're mostly in the, it's the best I can do, guys. That's a lot of squares on this blanket, and they're all so beauteous. And I'm going to show you some of my favorite squares that I added. Look at that one. That's so fun and bright. My unofficial rule is that the squares should have cool colors in them, which not always a thing. Like this square right here doesn't actually have any cool colors in it, but it does have, like, I did hold a black strand with the yellow yarn, so it kind of fits in with that. So I guess cool or neutral colors in it. I mean, obviously I'm not afraid to put bright and shiny in here either, but I don't know, I think it just makes it look a little more cohesive than if it was just anything. Look, I did not like this book. This book was Moby Dick. I didn't like that one. It did not age well. Let me tell you, did not age well, that book. So that's, oh, it's so cute. I put a lot of progress on that this month. It was one of the, I think before this video goes out, because this will take a lot more editing. So by this point, my first quarter of my like bingo roundup has gone up, and that is one of the squares on there, is to catch it up to current. So I was really trying this month to get it caught up. So because you've already seen that that video, if you haven't, okay, fine, but I did. I'm caught up, except for the book that I read today. So this is all caught up except for one book, which it's just 1 square. That's not going to take me that long. I'm going to journal it. I'm going to put it in my blanket. I'm super excited. Okay, so other project, other project that you have seen before that I have ripped a bunch of stitches off the needles. Oh well. That's fine. Okay. all picked up. So this is a pride flag blanket that I am making for my oldest kiddo. By the way, happy, what is it? Transgender Visibility Day? I think that's what it is today. If I said that wrong, I'm sorry, but happy that. Also happy Easter if you celebrate that. But here's the start of the blanket. So it's pretty long. It's from fingertip to my shoulder is half of it. I am not using a pattern for this. I just started with a triangle, like basically a triangular shawl for the first part. And then I lost stitches on the other end too. What am I doing here? Not using my needle, my stitch stoppers like I should be. Very rude. It's because I moved them out of the bag that they were in, and now I'm not positive what bag they're living in. Anyway, so I have 4 colors in. I said last month that I wanted to put the brown and the black in, but that just, I don't know, I got into the brown and I just wasn't feeling it. Maybe it's because I worked so hard on those scrappy blankets in January and February that I just lost some blanket mojo this month. I don't know, but I had just started the brown at the end of last month, and now I'm like exactly there in the black. So that's okay. It's okay progress. I would like to finish the black section this month. I'm not going to be too hard on myself if I don't, or this month being April, coming month. I don't anticipate having a ton of knitting time this month because I can't think of any sort of like scheduled day off from school, so we'll see how that goes. But once I get done with the black, then I'm going to be doing if you're not aware of what the pride flag looks like, I will put in a picture here. So once I'm done with the black, I will be working in a different direction. I'm going to cast on the entire bottom and then work back and forth. We went to my kids' dad's for spring break, I mentioned, and I grabbed the other ball of brown from, I have a cube right here, right there, that has the yarn for this blanket in it, and I was like, oh no, there's no black? I didn't order black? What am I doing? And then I realized I didn't order black because I had started a Bloomsbury sweater. Well, I had ripped out an old Bloomsbury sweater that didn't fit the way that I liked it. And I restarted it, but then I realized that I am now much more picky about the yarn that goes against my skin than I once was. And this yarn, this black yarn, is perfectly fine. It's a Plymouth Encore, but it is a wool acrylic blend, heavy on the acrylic and not merino. So but it's still attached. I just grabbed the ball that it was attached to and started working from the center of it. So this is how much I've done today. This black yarn, I did 2 ridges of the brown today and 5 ridges of the black. So clearly this doesn't take very long because I haven't been like trying to work very hard on it. I've just been, you know, putting in a row and then doing something and then putting in a row and then doing something. So look at that. Look how cute. Anybody else utterly fascinated by like when these cakes get hollowed out? I usually don't pull from the center of cakes because then they collapse and they turn into a mess, but this is attached to the outside. So wouldn't it be fun if I finished this whole ball today? Is that a thing that I think I could do? The black and brown sections take up way more than previous sections of yarn. So here's what I have left. I'm using Mighty Stitch. So this is what a full skein of Mighty Stitch looks like. This is what my second skein of pink looks like. So, you know, I broke into it a little bit. This is all that I have left of the brown. That's it. Like, that's it. So, that's fine. I have a whole sweater quantity of this black. A few have been pulled out. There's still some in the original sweater that I haven't pulled out yet. It's fine. But yeah, so I'll be fine for the black. And then I was looking at the yarn and I don't have green for this blanket. So I was working at the yarn shop when I got this yarn. So there must be a green at the yarn shop in Barocco Vintage that I like for this blanket. So I'm gonna have to go to the yarn shop soon. I almost went yesterday, but then I wasn't feeling good. So I'm gonna have to go and look and see what they have for green. Not that I'm getting there anytime super soon, because first I have to finish the black and then I have to do the purple and then the blue. But, you know, whatever. If I have to order yarn from Knit Picks, I kind of want to know so that I can have lead time on that. Kind of thinking I want to make a Knit Picks order anyway, because going off on tangents per usual, I have realized that some of the blankets that I thought were for me, some of the scrappy blankets that I was making that I thought were for me, are not actually for me. Which is a thing that happens sometimes. Anybody else have this? My sister and I have this a lot. Like, she'll get something that she thinks is for her, but it's not actually for her, it's for me. Like, she'll pick it up at the store. Like, she picked up this Victoria's Secret bag at Goodwill, and she was like, I thought it was for me, but it's actually for you, because everything plaid reminds her of me. So so that's what my reading blanket is in. And then this pride blanket is in this cute green plaid bag that one of my students at the yarn shop back when I taught, she got this for me for Christmas one year. So cute. Anyway, going off on a tangent on blankets. Oh, so over the last week or so, I was like, oh, I think my linen stitch blanket that I'm working on is not actually for me. I think that's going to be my niece's graduation blanket. So in the next 2.5 years, I'm going to have to start working diligently to finish that up. And then my granny square blanket that I've just been, you know, making a square here and there, the fingering weight blanket, I think that's going to be for my work mom. So yeah, those don't actually belong to me, and I think I want to order yarn from Knit Picks to edge the granny squares in to like put them together. So I'm thinking about maybe making a Knit Picks order soonish. Anyway, before I do that though, I want to make my sister's oldest kiddo for Christmas. Sorry, I'm jumping to future plans, and then I'm going to go back to a work in progress. They want a witch's hat, and I ordered 3 balls of yarn to crochet them a witch's hat, but they said they wanted it really, really tall, and now I'm nervous that that's not going to be enough yarn. So that project I'm planning on working on this month, so that if I have to order another ball of that, and I have to order green yarn for the blanket, and I have to order some yarn to put together the to start putting together the, I'm looking at them right now, I can't think of what they're called even though I just said it, granny squares. Sorry, ADHD brain, super fun. That I can just do that all at once instead of like working on that hat and then realizing I don't have yarn, but I've already made a Knit Picks order and then have to pay shipping, because why would you pay shipping if you don't have to, right? Logic. Yarn dollar logic. If you buy the yarn all together, then your yarn budget can be bigger because you pay less in shipping. Not that I actually have a yarn budget, but you know, it makes sense in my brain. Okay, so I have one other project. This is for my oldest kiddo for Christmas. And this is Knit Picks yarn. It is Stroll, both are Stroll. One is in black and one is in Dogwood Heather. Look at my teenage purr. What are you doing? Being suspicious. My kid picked the colors, and my kid wants some thigh-high socks and matching arm warmers. So I'm getting started. I made the choice to do a fold-over cuff with elastic in it to keep them up. And I made the choice to do that cuff in black. Why did I do that to myself? I don't know. Great question. But we decided on thick stripes. So they'll be like an inch, a little bit more than an inch thick. 15 rounds. The stripes are 15 rounds. And I'm going to do 5 stripes above the knee. And I don't actually know how like big my kid's thigh is, how many stitches my kid would need. I went with a lot, which is fine, because if it's like too loose around, then they can just pull them up higher. It was my thought process. And then my kiddo is only 15, so I'm not saying my kid is gonna have thick thighs when they grow up, but their mama does. So in order to give them room to have thick thighs later in life, the cast on is like about what I would cast on for a hat, honestly. So it's pretty big. It's fine. It's ribbed. It's fine. It's on US size 0 needles. And they're gonna take forever, or at least this first part, before I start decreasing. It's gonna feel so fast later on when I'm down the leg and decreasing, and I'm down to like 60 stitches. But my child has big feet, so it's fine. My child's gonna be super tall. They're already like, to me it feels super tall. I'm only 5'5". My oldest kiddo is 5'8". My littlest kiddo is 5 foot 5 inches. I'm like 5'5" and a half-ish, somewhere around there. My children are both about to be taller than me so soon. I'm not ready for it. Ridiculous. So anyway, that's what I'm working on. So I want to be working on that hat for, now I'm going to talk about future plans. I want to work on that hat for my sister's oldest kiddo. I want to work on these socks for my oldest kiddo. I would like to have the thigh portion of the socks finished by the end of April on both socks. So that's 10 stripes. Well, that's 12 stripes if you consider that like it's 2 stripes of thickness for the elastic. So that's 12 stripes total. I'm on stripe number 3 of 12. So I think that's doable, but this isn't really a work project, because like it totally would be, except that look how tight those stitches are on the needles. They slip off like nobody's business. So because it's 120 stitches on a 9-inch circular, That's a lot of stitches on a 9-inch circular. Like, it's fine for knitting. It doesn't slow me down. It doesn't mess me up, but they do jump off the needles. And I usually keep my yarn in my pocket and knit and walk around. And then if I have to like literally drop my project, it's not a big deal. But with this, it would be, because I would lose stitches, and then I'd have to set it aside until I could pick up the stitches. So I also need some work knitting because I don't have any right now. So today I am going to, so that's one square of my goals, is what I was getting at, is to work on holiday projects for the kiddos. I also have a square that's for fingerless mitts for my team, and one of my teammates, her favorite color is green. So I'm going to wind up this yarn today. This is Black Sheep Dye Works worsted weight superwash merino yarn in the moss tonal colorway. It's 104 grams, 226 yards, and I'm going to cake it up. Oh, there we go. There's some light. I'm going to cake it up, and I am going to cast on fingerless mitts. I don't know if I want to do like in the round or if I want to do flat. I haven't decided yet which way I want to make the fingerless mitts, but they're worsted weight, so they're going to go super fast. Super pretty yarn. And then I'm also, maybe not today, I don't know if I have it in me to cake up 2 things of yarn, but I'm also going to cast on these, not for any of my squares, but my kiddo's dad mentioned how the kids stole all of his socks that I made him. So I'm going to make him some socks. Maybe for his birthday, which is in May. Maybe for Christmas. I don't know. But I'm going to cast these on. These are going to be work knitting. No real deadline. I don't know if I'll do a pattern or not, but this yarn is from Humble Bumble Fibers Co., which has been rebranded to something about spiders. If I remember, I'll put it in the description below. It's sock weight, superwash merino nylon, and the color is Quasar? I don't know what that is. Quasar. I don't know. But it's so pretty. His favorite color is purple. So I'm gonna make him those socks. And then really quick, because I've been super chatty, I talked about Priory of the Orange Tree. Did I also talk about reading To Sir Philip with Love? It's a Bridgerton book. I don't remember if I talked about it. I didn't really like it. Like, I didn't hate it. Like, for a romance book, like, it was okay. But I didn't like it as much as I liked the other Bridgerton books. And I feel like part of that is because the other Bridgerton books kind of had like fairy tale vibes to them, and this one I didn't get that from at all, and I didn't like it. I was super disappointed because it follows the story of Eloise, who in the show is one of my favorite characters. And in this book, I don't know, it felt very flat. So anyway, I read that this month, and like, it was fine. I read it pretty quickly. It just, I don't know, it was underwhelming. I'm currently reading It's Kind of a Funny Story by Ned Vizzini, and it's about a boy who is he's in an adult wing at a hospital for, what is it called, to do in a mental hospital, basically. And I don't know, it's good, but also like it's triggering, so I like it, but I wouldn't necessarily be like, everybody go out and read it. And I am in between half and 2/3 of the way through the book. So this, friends, this is my own personal book, not from the library. I'm reading a book off of my own bookshelf. What? I know. But coming up this month, oh no, first, I also finished A Court of Wings and Ruin this month. I read that, and that's by Sarah J. Maas. I don't know how to say her name. I read that on my Kindle app. Oh, I forgot to show you. I figured out on my blanket. So the solid squares on this blanket are hard copy books. The granny squares are audio books. And then for Kindle books, where am I? Here. For Kindle books, I am doing, I don't know if you'll be able to tell, but hopefully you can. Kind of a modified granny stitch. It's hard to see, I'm sorry. So like this part is all granny, but then in the corners, maybe I'll insert a picture. In the corners, it's puff stitches. So that's how I'm gonna know that it was a Kindle book and not a audio or physical copy. I don't read a lot on Kindle. I don't know if that'll change. I don't know if I'll read more on Kindle going forward. I am going to read the Court of Thorns and Roses books on Kindle. I dropped stitches on my blanket again. I am going to read those on Kindle because I have them on Kindle, and like trying to get those books from the library is it's too much. But I don't dislike the books, but I don't like them enough to want to purchase them in physical copy. So Kindle it is, because my roommate has them on Kindle. And we share an Amazon account, so we share a Kindle account. So I finished A Court of Wings and Ruin, and I liked it. I didn't like it as much as whatever the second one is called. I don't remember. I liked the second one the best so far. But I liked it better than the first one. So my plans for reading in April, let's see if I'm successful, is to finish, it's kind of a funny story. This should be fairly easy. I haven't read it pretty much all week because I really wanted to finish A Court of Wing and Ruin, but I've been like having migraines and stuff, so reading has been iffy. But this should be fairly easy to finish. So I want to finish that. I want to read, there's a book that's in the Court of whatever series, Court of Thorns and Roses series, there's book 3.5. So I want to read that in April. I also want to read When He Was Wicked. I'm going to read all of the Bridgerton books. I hope that I like this one better than I liked the last one. It's gonna be sad if I don't like the second half of the series. I was not committed to reading the other Bridgerton books, the ones that aren't about the siblings. I wasn't committed to it. I was kind of like, maybe I will, maybe I won't. I'm leaning towards won't, if I don't like the other 3, I think. There's 3 more to read. Let's see. Yeah, so this and 2 others. If I don't like those 3, like if I don't like them as much as I liked the first few, then I won't bother reading anything else by Julia Quinn. But I feel too invested in the series to not read the rest, to not finish out the 8. And then I picked this up on a whim from the library. It says The Fairy Tale Life of Dorothy Gale. Didn't think about who Dorothy Gale was. I didn't read that it was Wizard of Oz. I don't love Wizard of Oz. But I picked it up from the library, so I might read this. I might just return it. I don't know. There was a Wizard of Oz retelling that I did like. I don't remember what it's called. So maybe I'll give it a chance, but maybe not. So this is a maybe for April. And then going back to, I try to work on things for my goals, my bingo squares, and I try to have 3. So projects for kiddos, mitts for my teammates. I guess my 3rd one is officially working on the pride blanket because I want to finish the black stripe and start the purple. So I guess that's 3. But weather dependent, I would also like to pull out the Heartsplosion socks. That would be something that I would only work on at home, and it would have to be on sunny days. So that's very weather dependent. It's very energy level after school dependent. But if the weekends are sunny, then I could work on it then. So it's a thing that I want to keep in my mind that I want to work on, but it's very sunshine dependent. Today is not a day I could work on that. It's too dark in here. I got a fuzzy in my eye. All right, friends, this is a super long episode. I'm not going to apologize. I'm not sorry about it, but yeah, this is a super long episode. A lot went on this month. I did a lot of crafting. So I will see you hopefully in about a month. Bye for now. no, he's coming. He was like, I was just temporarily distracted. Hey, bestie. You're pretty cute.